Guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I'm late getting in here today. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Monday. Let's jump into this news, shall we? Now, listen. I did a story, I think it was Saturday, that broke out there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Shout out. And it was about this guy right here. This piece of crap is 54-year-old John Sawchek. Those that follow him remember this story. This is the guy that shot his neighbor, Davis Mattori, who's still hospitalized right now in the throat, shattering his spine and parts of his spine. And the bullets is still lodged in this man's neck, y'all. He's still in the hospital. Reason why the story was big, because their neighbors, he shot Mr. Mattori because he was doing yard work and cut down part of a tree. The neighbor didn't want him to cut it down, threatened him, said if you touch the tree, I'll kill you. And he wound up shooting the man. Simple enough. That's reason for arrest, right? Nah, it wasn't good enough. A big controversy kicked off because the chief of police in Minneapolis was making all kind of excuses not to arrest this man. Oh, he has mental illness. Oh, he may be dangerous if he's shooting out the window like that. We don't want our officers to go over there in fear of us doing something to get persecuted. He might be messing with explosives. We don't know what's going on. I don't want to put my officers in danger while this man, Mr. Mattori, is still recovering in the hospital. What kind of law and order is that? Well, make a long story short, in the wee hours of the morning, this morning, Monday morning, they went over there and got the man out the house after a 1-hour standoff. Here's the news.
In Minneapolis, a dramatic standoff ended overnight where police arrested 54-year-old John Sawchek, who's accused of shooting his neighbor, Davis Mattori, in the neck, leaving him critically injured. That incident happened last week as Mattori was doing yard work. Our NBC affiliate obtained video of it, but we do want to warn you, however, that some might find it disturbing. Unbelievably hard to watch. The police department is now facing backlash for not acting sooner. A criminal complaint shows that Mattori had been warning for months about his neighbor's escalating harassment that eventually turned violent. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton is following all of this for us. Antonia, it was interesting because the police chief said the department failed the victim. How so?
Well, this comes after days of community uproar. The shooting that you just showed right there, heartbreaking and shocking imagery. I mean, this has been going around the community since Wednesday when this transpired, but he was not apprehended until 1:30 a.m. last night. And so for days, people were wondering, well, what's going on here? I mean, it's on video. And at first, authorities were saying, well, because of the suspect's history of mental illness, the fact he has firearms, they were saying they were fearful of having an aggressive and potentially violent standoff with him. But of course, for people living in that neighborhood and in that community, that meant he was living in his home for days after the shooting occurred, and they felt like they were at risk. And certainly the victim, who has been thankfully getting treatment for his very serious and critical injuries, it's left them feeling abandoned, and the community, in spite of the apprehension now, are still demanding further answers, Morgan.
I think we actually have some sound from that community. Can we go ahead and play that?
We had identified issues of concern, including issues that the individual had both firearms inside and also had knowledge of improvised explosive devices. Thankfully, our officers were able to peacefully arrest this individual tonight after several hours of a SWAT operation.
You mentioned those mental health concerns. Do we know where the suspect is now, if there's an upcoming trial date, and what do we know about his current state?
He is in custody, apprehended after authorities nearly had to gas his house to draw him out late at night last night. This was an hours-long standoff. And so the community is relieved that he's in custody now. He's facing attempted murder charges, but we don't yet have a trial date set. There's still a number of steps here to go because it's taken days, Morgan, to get to this point. But expect to hear from Mattori and other community members who are outraged. I mean, this 54-year-old neighbor 19 times Mattori had reported him for harassment, for hate speech, and it came to this.
Unbelievably heartbreaking. Antonia Hilton for us. Antonia, thank you.
An hours-long standoff in Minneapolis. Police trying to arrest a man who was inside, accused of shooting his neighbor over cutting a tree. So we wanted to bring in our Courtney Godfrey this afternoon. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, and my first time on Good Day.
I know. So Courtney works so you have a lot going on in your life, but you're working this schedule where you're working with us kind of freelance, and while you're also doing some amazing things away from TV.
So we had a busy overnight. Yeah. So here I am coming in to help out today. We had a shooting last week, and I know that you guys covered it, but on Wednesday, this individual, Davis Maturi, was shot in outside of his Lindale home, as you said, as he was trying to cut down a tree. He was hit in the neck. After that shooting, there were no arrests, despite Maturi saying, "This is the guy who shot me." His neighbor, his name is John Sawchek. And a lot of council members, a lot of public officials were speaking out saying, what's going on? Why have there been no arrests? A lot of criticism from city council. Last night, MPD finally did go to Sawchek's house. He barricaded himself in, so they had the SWAT team out there. They tried to get him to come out. They were on the loudspeakers trying to negotiate with him. Finally, at about 1 a.m., after hours-long standoff, they did breach the home. They went inside. They said that he willingly came out and he was arrested.
Okay.
So he is now sitting in the Hennepin County Jail on multiple charges, including attempted murder. And we also heard from the police chief.
Yeah, what is Chief O'Hara saying about all of this? Because it sounds like they maybe didn't respond as quickly.
Well, and Chief O'Hara, when this first happened, was critical of the victim, saying that Maturi instigated it a little bit. He's changed his tune a little bit, and overnight, early this morning, he came out and actually apologized. Let's take a listen.
While there were dozens of attempts, literally dozens of attempts prior to the shooting to make contact with this individual and to take him into custody, the police were unable to make contact with this individual since April, since it was confirmed that there were warrants for his arrest. That included doing surveillance early in the morning during the one time that we had reason to believe he might be leaving the residence. And so there was extensive work by our officers to try and make contact, to try and bring this person into custody, and we were unsuccessful. And so in that sense, yes, we failed this victim. He should not have been shot.
And we did reach out to the victim for response to that apology. We haven't heard back yet.
Okay, all right. And so this is the story you're working on for today.
And the city council, like I mentioned, has been very critical. So I just want to share this statement really quick from council member Emily Koski. She came out with a statement after the police chief spoke today, and hopefully we can get that on the screen here.
Oh, I think we just pulled up the wrong one. Let's see if we can flip that out for the statement from.
There we go. So Emily Koski says, public safety must never hinge on outcries from elected leaders. Our city deserves safety, accountability, and a system that responds swiftly and decisively to prevent harm. We owe it to our community to fully dive into and come to understand the factors that allowed this to occur and to ensure that no resident's plea for safety goes unanswered. Again, Mayor Fry has dismissed these comments as playing politics. We actually have an interview set up with the council member Koski in about an hour.
Okay.
So we'll be able to bring that to you on our 5 and 6 o'clock news tonight.
Sounds good. Thanks for getting us up to speed. We'll let you get out the door.
Absolutely.
Guys, that's the news, and I call BS on it, and I'm going to tell you why. This man shot this guy last Wednesday. Guy in the hospital right now, battling horrific injuries, right? City council got upset with the chief of police for the goofiness he said. Makes no sense. The guy had 19 active warrants from disputes dealing with this guy. You know what I'm saying? With the neighbor, who's hospitalized now, and it could have been avoided. 3 active warrants since April. We made dozens of attempts to contact him and do. You know what they was doing? Calling on his phone. They go and knock on the door. This guy got warrants for, violence and threats and all that type of stuff. That's not a priority. Oh, we'll catch him when we catch him. It makes no sense to me. A man is shot in the neck, bullet still in his throat. They don't know if they can get it out or not. Oh, You heard the chief of police? We thought he had explosive. I call cap on that. I think they said that to make it look like, oh, well, you know, we couldn't just go because there was a lot of research we had to do. Another thing that cracks me up is this. The man was shot last week, right? And I still stick by this. The man was shot last week. They knew who did it, knew where he was at, and everything. Never made no attempt to go get him. Now he committed a serious crime. This guy could have died, right? And the only excuse you have is he's not answering the door. When I did that first story, like, hey, he's not answering the door. Are you serious? How many people in Minneapolis got warrants right now and all they got to do is stay in the house? Y'all notice they went and got him in the middle of the night on the school night? I think that was planned too. So everybody would know they was over there. You know, on a Sunday night, everybody going to be home because everybody go to work Monday morning. So 1 o'clock in the morning, we'll go over there and just, come on. Oh, we had reason to think he was going to escape. He was a flight risk. You should have thought about that last week, because most of the time when people shoot somebody, what do? They get the hell up out of there, whether they in the house or not. Everybody knows he did it. Y'all knew he did it. Y'all waited a long time. Now all of a sudden you on TV. Oh, well, we failed this gentleman. Yeah, you right, you did. It's a damn disgrace. Man sitting in the hospital in a neck brace crying. His wife standing right there. He had to crawl to his house in a fetal position. They showed the shot uncensored. You see how he hit his head? Come on, man. They said in another report, right? The reason why the standoff took an hour, guys, I want you to hear this. They were talking on the loudspeaker. They had crisis management people out there. Several times they was trying to get him to talk to them. They had a robot with a cell phone take a cell phone to the door so he could speak with them, just to develop some line of contact. You got that truck with that damn ram head on the front of it. Now they knocked the windows, the top floor windows out before he finally came out. But you got that truck. You could have been used that like you use it on everybody else. Like I said before, if this was a black dude, they would have ran up in there. No doubt about it. I just think this right here was one of them things where they was like, okay, this guy right here, if he's crazy enough to shoot this guy on the front porch, we don't want to mess with this. I don't know how the crime is out there in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Minneapolis. But something with this don't sit right with me. And then they got the chief out there talking. Now he's sitting up there and he making a statement and all this stuff. You never went and seen that man. You never went and seen that man. You know what I mean? You got other officers investigating this stuff. You just standing in front of the camera talking. Your ass need to step down because it shouldn't have took you this long to institute law and order on a man that was shot doing yard work. Most people I know don't even do yard work. You know how many people I know with raggedy grass and stuff like that? This man out there got his right. He's standing on his property, cutting stuff that's going across his property line. He don't deserve to get shot. They should have acted swiftly on this. That's neither here nor there. The guy's locked up. He's facing attempted murder charges. The people were so scared, y'all, they don't want to go back to the house. The husband is in the hospital. He definitely ain't having his wife go home. So since Wednesday, these people have been scared to go to their house. While this guy's sitting up in there drinking beers and talking to his fucking self because they say he was crazy, thinking nothing gonna happen. Hell, he probably forgot it, that he did it. Anyway, this stuff right here, man, this should have been taken care of. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Yeah, and one more thing. I want you to think about how stupid this sounds. In the press conference, the chief said we had reason. The reason why we did we went to go make the arrest now was we had reasoning that he was going to be coming out of the house today. Just that alone, what he said, I'd fire his ass if I was the mayor. I'm done.